if you are a man in his late 30s, 40s, or even 50s, looking to meet and attract and ultimately date a younger, beautiful, sultry woman of your dreams, that 22-year-old, that 25-year-old, that 27-year-old. In this video, I'm going to outline why daytime cold approach is an amazing way for you to actually do that, and why actually age is a superpower. So I'm Joseph, I'm the Wing Bro. I'm here to help with your personal life. On this channel I discuss all things cold approach and relationship based. So to give you a quick synopsis of my own background, I'm 39 years old. The girl I'm currently dating is 25. I met her through daytime cold approach. She was with her two friends when I met her in the streets. Before coming into daytime approach a couple of years ago, I was very into the club scene and the bar scene for about 8 to 10 years. I was really honestly out almost every single night, and for 4 of those years I actually had my own club promotion as well. So you can probably imagine the kind of scenes that I've been exposed to and the kind of things I've experienced and the kind of things I've actually seen. So when I talk, I do talk from experience here, and I'm able to pull not only my own experience but also that of other guys as well, because I was always out and about around other guys who were living similar kinds of lifestyles. And so the first thing I want to go through now is why daytime approach really is the perfect way for an older guy, I say older, in his 30s or 40s or 50s, not old, but above his 20s, to actually meet these beautiful younger women. So let's just look at it logically. On the apps, most of the girls who are early 20s, they will put 30 as a limit on the app in terms of the men they're interested in. Okay, so most of them anyway. So that precludes you, and certainly if you're over 40, that certainly precludes you. And so really, you're not even getting in the shop window, you're not even getting, a message. Not that that's worth a lot anyway, but you're not even getting that if you're over 30, or certainly if you're over 40. Social scene, social circuit, again, as you get into your 30s and 40s, you kind of find your own niches in life and socially as well. And quite frankly, you may not have too many hot 21, 22-year-olds in those niches. And so, and obviously there's the bar scene as well, which, you can meet younger women in the bar scene. But I think daytime approach, especially for a slightly older gentleman, is the absolute creme de la creme best route, which is why I switched over to it myself, age 37. And it's bore fruit. I've really enjoyed the fruits of that labor. Actually, not even as much as I could have, to be honest with you. I'm almost glad I didn't discover this in my early 20s, because my life could have derailed. Have self-control as an older guy. So, if you're an older guy, daytime approach may be just the ticket for you. As you go out into the street, everything is open. You get yourself to a big metropolis, you get yourself to a big dynamic city. You have all these gorgeous women walking around in their early 20s, and they're absolutely everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. So you've got to get yourself to a good location. But once you're there, you're going to find yourself absolutely swamped with options, basically. All you've got to do is learn to approach. Learn to approach. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but that's what the Wing Bro's here for. So allow me now to explain all of the reasons why, as an older guy, you're actually living in your superpower. You're living in your superpower. You have so many good options as you get older, and actually it's really a big advantage. Just speaking from personal experience, when I was in my early 20s and mid 20s, I was never really concerned with other guys my age potentially stealing a girl I was in for, and indeed that basically never happened. The guys I was concerned with were always inevitably in their 40s, always. There's the few times I had to semi-fight them off, There was also one time I remember I was out on a date and a French guy in his mid-40s actually stole my date from the club and went home with her, which was one of the best learning curves I've ever had. And it allows me to speak with authority now at 39. I don't know if I've done that to other guys, but I've certainly, you know, I've been with girls in their early 20s who had other guys 21, 22 in for them. And they probably didn't realize they're competing against a guy who was like 32, 33 at the time. So let's just look through the list I've got here of things you have now as an older gentleman that you didn't have in your early 20s. Number one would be experience. You didn't have worldly or maybe even much carnal experience in your early 20s. You have that a lot more in your 30s, 40s and 50s. And this is something as well, I would say, if you're in your 30s and you haven't quite made it yet with women, certainly don't lose heart. You've really got it all to play for, even in your 40s, even in your 50s, believe it or not. I've seen all sorts, particularly over the last couple of years. So that experience, it really just shows through in the interactions, it shows through in the dates. It's just something that a younger guy can't compete with. How are you supposed to compete with a guy who's 15 years older than you? You actually can't. You actually can't. So yeah, that worldly experience, I'd say, is your number one asset. And this worldly experience is something a lot of girls do find very attractive. Next up here is looks. You're definitely better looking, more seasoned looking in your mid to late 30s. Guys in their early 20s are very boyish, especially in their looks. And so that's not really what a grown woman is looking for, even a young woman. It's rare, for example, in cinema that you see leading men under the age of 30. The average age is about 40, actually, and for good reason as well. It's really 40 is around the age that men peak, I'd say, in terms of looks physically, or maybe 40s in general, because you can still keep in really good shape, have really good definition, really good body tone, but you've got that seasoned look to you. You've got that daddy look about you, which a lot of girls find very attractive. So your look alone is going to improve most of the time as you get older, as long as you're actually looking after yourself. Your dress hopefully should improve as well, your dress sense, style. Okay, so that's just some basic stuff. Let's get on to the more interesting stuff here. Next up, self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. A lot of younger guys struggle with self-acceptance for one reason or another. They're fresh out of school, they might still have some hang-ups from their first breakup, or from the kid that bullied them in school, or this or that, and they can often just struggle to accept themselves. A lot of younger guys have that. As you get older, you just have a much greater sense of self-acceptance and self-confidence, and that obviously carries through into your interactions with women. Ambition. A lot of younger guys are just kind of chilling. They're just fucking around, smoking weed, playing PlayStation. That actually isn't what most young women are looking for in their early 20s, certainly not in their mid 20s. Definitely not. So a 25-year-old woman with like a 23-year-old guy would be such a mismatch, because she's looking at it and she's feeling it even biologically. A woman's biological age at 25 probably is about the same as a man who's 45 in terms of reproduction, in terms of how much time she has left on the reproductive in the reproductive landscape, if that even makes sense. But obviously women by age 30, they've already actually lost a lot of their eggs by that point, and by age 40 it's essentially game over. So their game is very brutal, and they've got to get it right as soon as possible. So for 25 to 30 year olds, you know, it's actually very normal for them to be looking for a mature guy. Could be a guy their own age, but equally, if you're older, you should come as that mature package to begin with. And that obviously links into ambition as well. As you get older, you kind of care a bit less about bullshit, you care a bit less about, you know, the juvenile stuff, and you do become more ambitious And that is definitely attractive to a young woman who's looking essentially to start a life. Or even if she's just looking for an experience, it's still more attractive. Still more to gain from you, basically. What do we have next here? Yes, next up here we have certainty. A sense of certainty. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. When you go over, it's very rare you see young guys with this kind of certainty, especially in the West. When you go over as an older guy, you basically have a level of certainty, which is just, hey, what's up? Yeah, here I am. Yeah, let's go. As opposed to when you're young, it just feels different. And I can remember this from my teenage years through my 20s. There's a much greater sense of certainty in myself as I've got older. And even as I've gone deeper and deeper into my 30s, I felt it more and more. A good friend of mine who's in his 70s now, he probably is the coolest 70-year-old in the world. He rides a motorbike, he's got a 40-year-old girlfriend. He said to me, he never felt more confident than he did in his 40s. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's that sense of certainty, Next up, adventure. For some younger women, the idea of being with an older guy, if they've never had it before, they've never had access to it before because older guys aren't approaching them, they're not in their social circle. And as I said before, they don't allow that on the apps, they don't go past 30 on the apps. It's a real adventure for them to actually meet this established older guy, this James Bond figure, this Jason Bourne figure, this pirate, this brigand, this business mogul, whoever you are, this doctor, surgeon, engineer, whatever you are, whatever you've done, you're an exciting proposition to her. Okay, it's an adventure for her. Yeah, it's a little bit naughty. Yeah, she's probably fantasized about it. She might have even flicked on a bit of the old pornography and seen a few scenes with an older guy and a younger woman. It's going to be very exciting for them. So that sense of adventure, and most likely if you've got some experience in life, you can sort of provide a bit more of an adventure for the girl anyway. You're not just thinking, okay, yeah, we're going to stay in and play PlayStation and smoke weed, which actually a lot of younger guys, they think that's like a good night out. For me, I can't think of anything more tedious and puerile than doing something like that. So I'm like, let's go out, let's go do something, let's go to hit this bar, let's go to the beach, let me rent this bike, let's do this bike, whatever it is, let me take you on the dance floor, can you shoot? No, probably I've not taken someone to the gun range yet, but you've just got more ideas, you've got more stuff to do, you can be more exciting, to this girl who's looking to have an adventure. So that's another thing that you can bring to the table as an older guy. As an older guy as well, you're able to start to hit this happy medium, this blessed state where you're able to really bless the girl with your sexual attraction. You're able to actually demonstrate to her like how you're just shameless about how attracted you are to her, and you feel more confident being more forward. But at the same time, you can also take it or leave it. So younger guys, they maybe try and do one. It's sort of either desperate or they're trying to be too aloof or too cool. Definitely, I was kind of, that was the trap I fell into when I was younger. As I slowly over the years, I've realized, just to drop the bullshit more and more. And now I can kind of come across, yeah, I'm super attracted. You're so fucking hot. I want to talk to you, but at the same time, I can take it or leave it. And that's a very powerful energy. That's the perfect energy to be coming in with. It's easy to generate that as an older guy. So yeah, there are a few other things in here I put as well. As an older guy, you tend to have found your niche in life. You tend to have a world to actually bring the girl into. You tend to be more well-traveled as well. Travel these days is so big in conversations. It's probably one of the main things I go back and forth with girls on, as I've met them, approached them, and one of the main things we tend to talk about is travel, because it's a big part of my lifestyle. And a lot of women, they're these kind of like, excited creatures who just, they're looking out into the world, what's out there, and so that's one of the things we talk about. As an older guy, you will likely be more well-traveled. And yeah, just the last one as well, you're just more experienced in the bedroom as well. You're more experienced in the bedroom. This is not going to be it's not a sex video as such, but yeah, experience does count for sure. Experience does count. Yeah, you just are better in bed as you get older, basically. You're more experienced. There's just stuff stuff I probably can't even put on a YouTube video that you don't know when you're younger. So yeah, some older guys are concerned about things like, for example, an age objection. That's actually a very easy thing to bypass. I can tell you how to bypass that in a couple of minutes. It's not something you should even really be concerned with. You might be concerned with, I don't know, other people's approval or things of that nature, but basically you teach other people what is normal to you. So most of my friends, they tend to have women that usually about 10 years younger than themselves. It's fairly normal, to be honest with you. Some even go 15, 20 years. Some friends of mine. So you just kind of do your own thing, basically. So yeah, you shouldn't really be concerned with other people's opinions on this particular front. And then in terms of serious dating, some guys will have a question of, well, will the girl, if she's 22, will she just be too immature? Or she's 30 and I'm 50, will she be too immature? I would say it depends. It depends. But again, due to biology, women do mature physically and mentally and socially much faster than men do. You take a 21-year-old woman compared to a 21-year-old man, it's night and day, to be honest with you. And especially 25, it's really night and day. And I would also say that maturity isn't really related to age. Maturity for me, as I look at a woman, is related to how much she's able just simply to accept and understand reality. That's what I define as mature. Somebody lives in a fantasy land, I don't define them as mature. I don't care how old they are. They could be 50, they could be 70. They live in a delusional, fantasy world, like a child, basically. Then they're not mature in my book. And there are people who are extremely mature, age 19, 20, and there's people who are completely immature, age 40, 50, 60. I mean, there's so many people like that. It's actually incredible. So maturity is not something that it really comes with. It's not even really associated with age, in my opinion. It's much more your mental outlook. And on top of that, of course, you become more experienced. But if you don't have that mature attitude to begin with, it doesn't matter your age. So I would say be open-minded with this one. I regularly meet women 21, 25 from all sorts of countries who are literally more mature than like 50-year-olds, in some countries. And then even within countries, obviously that can, there's all sorts of variation as well. So yeah, so if you're an older guy, hopefully this video gives you a new perspective, and hopefully it just gives you some confidence that you may finally be able to do this, brother. After many years of wishing and wanting, maybe you didn't get the girl when you're a teenager, or your early 20s, or your late 20s, or you got girls, but you didn't really get the ones you wanted. Yeah. Hopefully this video is going to give you a sense of confidence, a sense of belief that actually you can go and get this girl. 39, you can go and get her at 45, you can even go and get her at 50. Okay, I'm 39, I'm currently dating a 25-year-old. I have lots of friends who are basically in the same situation as me, late 30s, early 40s, even 50s, who are dating women, at least 10 years younger than them. Guys in their 50s dating women in their early 30s, guys my age, late 30s, early 40s, dating women in their early mid-20s. It's absolutely possible. And basically all you need to really do is start to cash in those chips that you've been building up, and daytime approach is the perfect way to do that. But it is something that frankly a lot of guys have a lot of intrepidation about. Moving from nighttime in my case over to the daytime, I actually went and got specific training to learn how to actually do this in the day, the noble art of the daytime cold approach. You can see some of my demos on this channel, but if you're looking for more support, you want to just completely accelerate that process So you go from hesitant or whatever, or intermediate, to advanced, essentially, you know, certain, and basically running things. I'm running workshops around Europe this summer. There's also 90-day ongoing support with you. So we're doing an absolutely intensive immersion, and then you're getting ongoing support as well on your journey moving forward, basically to make sure you get the result, okay? And the sense of freedom, the sense of liberation after so many years of just fucking eating the bullshit. So many years I remember myself of, you know, I'm out in the clubs, I'm doing my thing in the clubs, but I'm always wondering, what about the girl in the library? What about the girl in the mall? What about the girl in the park? I always wondered about this before I finally took the plunge into Daytime Approach, went and got myself trained, and it's completely changed my life. Now, to be honest, I don't really even think about women. I just really don't. It's completely sorted. It's completely taken me to a different plane in life, because essentially that question is now sorted. Now I just think about other stuff. Now I just think bigger. I've just thought bigger in my work. I've thought about my fitness, my health. And I'm thinking about this with Wingbro, is building that infrastructure for men to develop. Okay, that ultimately is what I and my associates are doing, is building infrastructure for men to develop. Okay, I saw a video the other day of it was basically a group. It was a video about a tribe, and they said that the most prolific hunters in the tribe are between the ages of 35 and 40, despite the fact, you know, the strongest and fastest are like 18 to 25, because they've got that, you know, they've got that new blood. But those guys can barely feed themselves because they don't understand the terrain. They don't understand it, they don't get it. And basically the video is about how the older hunters would teach the younger ones, and the guys in their 70s would even be teaching the guys in their early 20s, okay? That tribal infrastructure, yeah, that they have on that base level, that's been completely lost in modern society. So you have guys at all ages, 30, 40, 50, 60, they don't even know the basics, right? Because there's been no one there. There's been no infrastructure there for them. So that's what I'm building with this. And if you're interested in getting on board with this, you know, basically in a very, very early stage, I'm in a Goldilocks zone right now. What you can unlock at this stage with me is actually insane. So if you're interested, you can book a call. Find out a little bit more about the immersion, the 90-day support. I mean, it will change your life, dude. It will change your fucking life. But even if that's not something you're interested in, I hope this video, sincerely, I hope it gives you some optimism. I hope it gets you out there, and I hope it gets you firing. Okay. So yeah, let me know in the comments if basically cold approach is something that you've tried already. Let me know what your experiences have been, and let me know what your experiences have been as an older guy versus a younger guy. I'm very interested to know how people have experienced these things. I really sincerely believe if you're older and you've been working and you've been pushing in life, then really you're coming into your finest season. You know, as you get to the end of your 20s and you get into your 30s, you're really coming into the finest season of your life. So yeah, I will leave things there. This is Wingbro. Peace, love. Jacewski out.